And good evening, and welcome to City Focus. I'm Marty Olsen, your host, and tonight we're running solo. And I think we'll open up with a few PSAs here. We'll start with the Kiwanis Club of New London annual golf tournament, and that's coming up on September 18th on a Friday at Shenecasset in Groton. Here we go. And it's a terrific event, and it's the club's primary fundraiser, which supports all of our charitable giving. And we are looking for golfers and sponsors. We need the prizes and volunteers, and to make it a successful event. And we look forward to your participation, and get your friends and neighbors, and let's make this the best one ever. And on Mondays, we'll slide into something new. There we go. At Ocean Beach Park, they've got their Monday night cruise night, classic car cruise night. And it's free after 5 o'clock, and they always get a good turnout of cars on display. And you get the antiques, you've got muscle cars, you've got motorcycles, and fancy stuff, Corvettes, and it's a lot of fun. A nice social event, and while you're there, you can walk the boardwalk, get a soft serve ice cream, or relive your youth and go in the arcade and have a little bit of fun. So I would encourage you to take advantage of what's offered down at the beach. And our third and last promo is, there we go, right here in-house, and that is that SEC TV is now live streaming. And as you can see on the screen, you go to sec-tv.org and follow the prompts, and you can watch the program live. So quite frankly, I like to think that we now have a global presence here on City Focus. So there may be some folks in Thailand or Brazil watching us right now. There we go. And I'm just kind of curious if anybody who's watching may have watched the All-Star game last night on Fox. And if you'd like to comment on that, we are live right now. And the phone number, if you'd like to contact us, is 860-445-7499. I must admit, I haven't watched an All-Star game in quite a few years. But I got tugged in on the pregame, which I thought they did a really nice job on, with the historical content and a little bit with the history of baseball, the history of the country, Philadelphia. And I thought it was just very well done, and hung in there for a little bit during the ball game before switching to another channel. But I thought that was kind of neat. Now, the big news in New London, and I think this buzz is going to continue for months, is Jack is back. Jack Cochran has been rehired as the football coach at New London High School after a tenure of a few years, roughly I think 10 years ago. And Jack has had extraordinary success coaching wherever he's been. I mean, he started his high school coaching career as a head coach in Bloomfield, and then he meandered on a little south to New Britain, and then came into New London. And he's had tremendous success at each stop along the way. And I'm impressed with how the kids really gravitate to him, and he gets the absolute max out of them. It's amazing how the kids respond to him. And I'd like to put a little plug in too. One of Jack's players at his initial stop in Bloomfield, Dwight Freeney, played for the Indianapolis Colts and has just recently been elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which is pretty darn good to have a guy who's made the Hall of Fame that you were his high school coach. So I expect the fortunes of New London football are going to turn around pretty darn quick here with Jack at the helm. And I was duly impressed. I sat in on his, I'll call it meet and greet about a month ago at the high school. And he has these kids chomping at the bit to get going. And he's a straight shooter. He tells it exactly the way it is. And also the absolute need to perform in the classroom as well as on the football field. And if you don't perform in the classroom, you won't play. So that's kind of an incentive that you can't just be a jock and expect that that's going to be enough. You've got to prepare yourself for life as well. You're not going to be a football player forever. However, he's put a lot of guys into college football and gets kids into college, period. And I think that speaks well, again, of Coach Cochran and his ability to get the kids motivated, go to the next level, and be able to perform and perform well, and count very well for themselves, their school, and the community, and the high school. And I think that that's absolutely terrific. I do think it's kind of ironic right now, though, with Jack. I'd be remiss if I didn't offer this little nugget, and that is when he had some issues with his first tenure with New London. The superintendent of schools at the time was Chris Cluett, who was instrumental in having Jack kind of nudged out. But Chris is now a member of the New London City Council, so I think that's rather ironic that what goes around comes around. Perhaps you've noticed also in the newspaper that recently Cynthia Ritchie, the superintendent of schools, is going to step down at the end of the year. And the assistant superintendent is going to also leave New London and take a job as a superintendent in Vernon, Connecticut. So we're getting the two leaders of the school district stepping out basically at the same time. So this is kind of a critical juncture for the New London education system in terms of their capacity to draw quality talent to run the district. Quite frankly, the district academically is still trolling at the bottom of the state, and that's not a place we want to be. It's not a place where you're going to be attracting young families who will have choices on where they want to send their kids to school, and that's always kind of the top priority. And the magnet school district that we as a community bought into roughly 15 years ago or so really has not been performing at the level that it was sold to us that it would. And I think that is also part of the problem, attracting quality students coming in from out of district. Why would they come from their home area where the school district is doing well into a district where at times things are dysfunctional, and that's not a big selling point. Another personnel move, Mayor Passero has extended Police Chief Brian Wright's contract for 6 years. And that's quite a lengthy extension, although I will say I think that Chief Wright has been doing a fine job with the tools that he's been given to work with. And I will be very blunt. I think that the mayor and the council have shortchanged the guy. They're not fully staffing the PD, and it's not. It makes his job even more difficult. New London is a small town. It's got a perception issues, and it's kind of a gritty situation, and you have to be on top of things all the time. And as you can tell from those who subscribe to the day paper or listen to local radio, that New London does have issues regarding crime and shootings and things of this ilk that would tend to dissuade our neighbors and maybe even some folks from the south end of the city from venturing into downtown New London and spending their money as a consumer or as an investor for that matter. But that really is something that at the political level that it amazes me, and it has for a long time, including the time that I've spent serving in government in New London is the tolerance that New London has. And I think this is a weak spot for the mayor. I think he's got blinders on. He thinks everything's hunky-dory. But the tolerance for crime and violent crime, drugs, the fact that there's a dearth of pedestrian traffic in downtown, I would argue that much of that is due to the fact that folks don't want to come down and be accosted by beggars and riffraff and things of that ilk. Also, the issue of dirt bikes that are circulating throughout the city, terrorizing motorists, pedestrians, etc., going too fast, doing wheelies, going the wrong way on one-way streets. These young people are masked up. It's hard to identify them. And our local leadership just throws their hands up and go, well, there's nothing we can do. We can't chase them. The state tells us that. To me, that's an unacceptable response. And if it is, in fact, the state's making the rules on this particular tough issue, I think it's incumbent upon our local officials to write a resolution on what they would like to see and submit it to our local legislators. Anthony Nolan, state rep, the young fella from Groton who represents the south end of the city, and State Senator Martha Marks, and say, hey, look, guys, we have a problem here, and it's up to you guys to help us solve it. Because in the absence of getting a nudge from the locals, these guys are just going to sit back and do nothing. And that's what they're doing, nothing. And I think that's unfortunate that they should just be so passive on such a dangerous situation. When we had a situation a while back where a lovely young lady was tossed from a motorcycle, I believe it was on this side of the bridge in Groton, and suffered the ultimate sacrifice. But it was it's awful, and I'm surprised that we don't have more accidents than we do. But that's these are things that we can, I think, address. Now, another thing I'd like to address is quality of life issues in New London. When Rudy Giuliani was the mayor of New York City, he made it an important part of his administration to clean up Times Square and get rid of the riffraff out of the doorways, clean up graffiti, and do it quickly and promptly and move people along. And it got to be to the point where Times Square is now a tourist attraction. People come to Times Square. It's a destination, not a place that you avoid or you're hop, skipping, and jumping so you're not tripping over people. And I think that this is something that in New London we've got a reputation for not dealing with these types of issues. And that could be anything from speeding on our city streets, parking in handicap spaces, parking on yellow lines, or parking too close to corners where it makes it difficult to see, and you've got cars that are poking their way out into the middle of a street at an intersection because they can't see. Blocking hydrants, people running stop signs and red lights. It's becoming prevalent. And as long as people are getting away with it, tossing trash out of their cars, as long as they are able to get away with it, they will do it. And it's up to the city to put the clamp on it and say, this is unacceptable in New London. Now, that challenge is put forth, and I'll be curious to see if any of our leaders take this up. Another problem that we have is on the weekends is the trash pickup in our parks, as well as downtown, where you've got crap and crud that's littering the gutters and the streets, parking lots and parking garages throughout the city, and it won't get touched until Monday. And again, in terms of the overall appearance of the city, it's not good. This is the kind of stuff that we really have to take on with full force. Make it a priority. And good things will happen when you take care and pay attention to what's going on. But if you're lazy and you don't do it, that's what it attracts. You get more of the same. I mean, I question, we have personnel in place to address many of these issues. I mean, we have a zoning officer, we've got a zoning enforcement officer, we have building official, we've got Ledyard dealing with health issues, and I think that it's incumbent upon them to be proactive and not reactive in terms of how they approach their jobs. That you shouldn't have to wait for a complaint to act. If you see something that's wrong, address it. Get the address of the place, find out who the owner is, and contact them and tell them that they got to take care of things. I mean, some recent examples of this, at the address of 802 Ocean Avenue, which is literally a neighbor of mine at the top of my driveway, that house is abandoned. The place is overgrown and the building looks like it's ready to collapse. And it's an eyesore. And it really should not, the city should not allow this to happen. We had a problem at One More Court where garbage and debris had littered the entire area around the house, on the property, onto the front porch, out onto the sidewalk, and into the street. And it was like this for months and months and months. And there were complaints made to the city officials. It has finally been addressed, but it took way too long. Once that stuff got out of control, it should have been addressed immediately, and it shouldn't have had to require the neighbors to go banging on the door downtown to make it happen. The local officials should notice this. They should be driving around the city, and when they see something out of whack, address it. Don't ignore it. Don't put the blinders on. That's really a bad way to conduct business. And I also like to note too, and one of our entryways into the south end of the city, as well as en route to Ocean Beach Park, at the corner of Ocean Avenue and School Street, you've got what used to be a Citizens Bank branch office, overgrown, where you've got hay and weeds that are pushing 5-6 feet tall. I would say that that's a little bit over the top. And the city should take care of that stuff. And if they can't get the owner to do it, we do it. We take care of it, whether we do it in-house or we hire contractors. But we cut the grass, get the place cleaned up, and bill them. And if they don't pay, lien the property. If they don't pay, pay up then, foreclose on the lien. Force the action. Don't be passive. And this is going on throughout the community, and it's not just in some of our poorer neighborhoods, it's citywide. And it's unacceptable. Well, let's put it this way, it should be unacceptable. And that's why I say the tolerance by our leadership really is, I think, really falling on their sword in this particular area. This past weekend, we had Celebrate New London, the abridged version of Sailfest. So we've gone from a 3-day celebration downtown, along with the big fireworks show on Saturday night, to a 1-day affair on Saturday, again with the big fireworks. I did not get downtown this year for the festival and or the fireworks, but based upon what I have been reading online, it appears that a good number of people thought it was terrific, and a good number of people thought it was less than stellar. So I suspect that those who are for or against probably were for or against before it happened. They either like it or they don't. But again, this is a case of where the mayor, Mayor Passero, has made a decision to cut back and shave that particular program. And Sailfest had gone on for the better part of 40 years, and at a personal level, I think that it has proven to be a pretty nice affair, and that you get people coming in from all over the state and the region, for that matter, and it's fun, and it is what it is. It's kind of a carnival type of an atmosphere. It's not the Mystic Arts Festival, but it's something that does draw people into the community. And part of what you're trying to accomplish there is to get them not only to the New London, but to come back, that they had a good enough time and that they see enough positive things that they want to do, that they'll venture back and continue to make New London a destination. So let's see how we can make out with that. I'd like to remind you that you're watching City Focus, and we are live, and if you'd like to, you can call in. The number's on the screen at 860-445-7499. And I would really enjoy having somebody give me a jingle here so we can have a little bit of a conversation and get your thoughts in terms of how to improve our community. Has anybody who's watching, have you made a trip or joined, for that matter, the new recreation center down at Fort Trumbull? We've got a heck of a lot of money invested in that, and I have a difficult time seeing how we're going to be able to recapture our investment in dollars and cents in terms of its cost, as well as even meeting operating expenses for it. Those who have visited the facility tell me it's an absolutely splendid, spectacular building, and enough to make you proud. Again, the city has got a long history of not taking care of its buildings, so I'm hoping that we do a better job of maintaining this $40 million building. And the big thing that it has that other facilities in the community don't have is a swimming pool. And in a community such as New London, I think it's incumbent that all residents, especially the kids, learn to swim. If nothing else, for their own personal safety, that when they're in the water or if they're at the beach, that they can take care of themselves. I think that's a critically important situation, and we ought to be promoting that and seeing that these kids get an opportunity to utilize the pool and get those lessons in so that they can take care of themselves. And coming through downtown on my way over here to the studio this evening, I noticed that the framework for the Coast Guard Museum is slowly making its way, getting built here. I have a difficult time seeing where this thing's going to be completed in a timely fashion, although I keep hearing rumors that it's going to be completed sooner rather than later, and I don't know where the money's coming from, but we'll see. I mean, I sincerely hope for the good of the community that it gets built, finished, and it's a star, and it's a home run that we have this facility, and that folks are going to want to come to New London to visit the museum, and then venture into the community to see it and visit it. One of the things that I've always stated, going back to the beginning of my tenure in local government, is that New London has got a tremendous amount of assets. We've got tremendous history in New London, and that we really don't take full advantage of the opportunities that are available to visitors, and we don't market it well, if at all. But when you have the Custom House and the Hempstead Houses and Shaw Mansion, New London County Historical Society, Fort Trumbull and Nathan Hale Schoolhouse and the Courthouse and the Custom House and the Ancients Burial Ground and the Old Town Mill under the bridge. We should be packaging New London as a tourist place where you can come for a half a day to a day, make a nice walking tour. And actually, Barbara Neff and a partner have started a business where they will take you on a tour of New London, and they've got different packages available. But to me, it's just a matter of getting people who run these facilities to start playing ball together. They're all on the same team. We're all in New London, and we really can't afford to have outliers that are not playing team ball. But I think it's the kind of stuff that should be very, very exciting. You know, you get the O'Neill's boyhood home, the Monte Cristo, a cottage on Pequot Avenue. So, I mean, it stretches from the south tip of Ocean Beach up to the north tip to Connecticut College and the Coast Guard Academy. I mean, we've got all sorts of good things going on here, and people don't know about it. So we need to be a bit more robust and positive. So that's my suggestion for those who are in our leadership positions to take this stuff on. Now, I'm going to shift gears just a skosh. I'd just like to say that, you know, the demise of Senator Lindsey Graham, I've always enjoyed, from South Carolina, I might add, I've always enjoyed his thoughts and commentary on the issues of the day, and he's always been a very a public persona coming out of the Senate. He's very always been accessible to the media, and he went back to the House of Representatives. I mean, I was introduced to him. Basically, he was one of the House reps that was dealing with the Bill Clinton impeachment, and that's where he kind of got his first stage, I will call it. But then he ran for Senate and was able to get elected a number of times, and to be taken out so quickly and abruptly it's a sad story. But his sister has filled his seat. She's been appointed to fill out that seat for the balance of his term, which ends at the end of this term. And I suspect that the Republican Party will have a scramble for a candidate to fill that void. And it might be a very interesting election in November, where we have our midterms. And I might add, with what's going on in pockets of the country where we have extreme far-left candidates that have been forcing primaries and knocking out incumbent Democrats. This is all within the Democratic Party. They're calling themselves social democrats. I would call them socialist communists, but they are achieving a level of success primarily, but not exclusively, in urban areas. And the big star of the group is the mayor of New York City, Mamdani, and what they're bringing to the table, and it's a little bit scary, I would say. That, after the Cold War was ended and under the leadership of President Reagan and finalized under President Bush, we thought we had collapsed and killed communism. And the Soviet Union was dead. And at the time, anyway, China was certainly not a threat. And now China is a threat, and communism is coming alive internally. And that value system is not even remotely in sync with what our founding fathers envisioned when they formed and wrote the Declaration of Independence and subsequently the Constitution, where the individual is paramount, not the government. Those folks at that time felt that the individual had the wherewithal to make decisions that would impact their lives and didn't need Big Brother looking over their shoulder and handling them like puppets and marionettes, being led around in that fashion. And if you don't, to be coerced or worse. So I think we need to watch what's going on with this carefully. It needs to get snuffed out, if it can be. I'm not sure. But I think that there's a concern, too, that young people are buying into this thought process and philosophy, not fully understanding what capitalism is, the benefits of capitalism, I mean, there's a reason why the United States is the richest country in the world, and that has taken more people out of poverty than any country in the world, and taken more countries out of poverty than any other country in the world. And it's through capitalism, through competition. And this is what makes things drive, is that when you're building a better mousetrap, as opposed to having pin-headed bureaucrats in some ivory tower dictating policy and what you're going to do and how much you're going to make. It amazes me. Just think about this. Think about New York City, 8 million people. And how do they know to get how much bread to the different delis? How do they know how many tires to send to the tire store? How much gas to send to the gasoline stations? It's a supply and demand, and it works effectively. As opposed to somebody saying, well, you're going to get 10 loaves of bread, and you may need 500. That creates a shortage, and it jacks up prices. So you gotta think things through here. But we shall see. I'm interested to see if there's any backlash with this movement as we move into the midterm elections coming this fall. The president is not up. The president will be in 2028, and President Trump will, all indications are he's going to be unable to seek re-election, so we'll have a new president. But the entire House of Representatives will be up for election, all 435, and then a significant number of U.S. senators are up for election, and to see how this shakes out. The historic show of that would be is that the party out of power, which at this juncture is the Democrats, should have or should achieve significant success and take one, if not both, of the houses, which would curtail the president's capacity and ability to enact his agenda. But I am just wondering with what's going on within the Democratic Party and the internal strife is whether or not the public is going to say, we don't want that. I'm not sure necessarily that they're going backflips with the Republicans, but do they want what the Democrats are offering? And from where I'm sitting, what the Democrats are offering is Trump bad, Trump bad. And I'm not sure if that is a real good platform for a political party, is that Trump is bad. What are your ideas? What are you going to do to improve the lot of the people of our country and the districts that you represent and the states that you represent? And again, I don't think the Democrats have any ideas. It's attack Donald Trump at every turn, every corner. So we shall see how that shakes out. We also have elections at the state level, and we have, the governor is up, and our incumbent is being challenged, and there's a couple of the and at the state level in Connecticut, all of our statewide office holders, including our congressmen and our U.S. senators, are all Democrat. And whether or not the GOP has the capacity and the wherewithal to put a dent in there, find a crack, and take advantage of it. There are internal issues within the Democratic Party. I mean, the incumbent Governor Lamont is being challenged and would be primaried. Congressman Larson up in the Hartford area is being challenged by Luke Bronin, who was the mayor of Hartford. And I think that in particular is kind of funny because, I mean, Larson's been around a long time. And he started out in the state assembly as a representative, and he's been a congressman a long time. And he's always kind of campaigned on being the guy with experience. And Bronin has come in and painting himself as the young, the young, energetic, new ideas, fresh candidate who can take Connecticut into the future and his district. And at the expense of Larson, who's got to be at least 80 years old. And Larson is campaigning as if he's trying to be a youngster. He's trying to re-image himself as a young man. I'm not sure if it's working very well, but we'll see how that shakes out as things evolve. But I really think, and I enjoy when I have Tony D on here as a guest, and I enjoy listening to him when he's on Lee Elsey every Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock, where he challenges our state leaders and what they're doing. And he's very well versed. He does his homework. He knows what he's talking about. And at times I said, boy, Tony, it'd be nice if you ran for office. But I think he's content to be the guy who's pointing the finger and digging up the dirt and letting people know what's going on. But I would also like to just mention, mentioning Tony D and Lee Elsey. Tomorrow morning, I will be a guest on Elsey's program at 6:30. So if you're an early riser, tune into 94.9 FM, and you can hear me on Lee. We may be discussing some of these same issues, but I think that we'll have a much broader audience tomorrow morning, and I always enjoy going on and discussing the issues of the day on the Voice of Freedom, the Lee Elsey Show. So that's always a lot of fun. And again, we are live. We are accepting calls at 860-445-7499. I'm going to shift gears just a little bit here, and that is coming out of the gate this season, Major League Baseball. For those of us who are fans of the Boston Red Sox, they had a pretty horrific opening to the season, and it looked like they were destined to be one of the doormats of Major League Baseball. But as we've gotten closer to the All-Star break, they finished with 9 wins in a row, all on the road, I might add. And that's the first time that's happened since 1977. That's quite a long time ago. And that, are they in a position where they can make a serious run for a playoff spot? And should they be a buyer? Should they be looking for players to improve? Or are they going to look at it and say, well, our players are hot right now. This is a good time for us to sell. Let's get rid of these guys. I hope that they go for the gusto. Their pitching staff certainly has been performing admirably, and they could use a bat or two because they do have a difficult time scoring runs. But it's been nice to see the turnaround. And I have to admit, as the older I'm getting, that I don't know the players as well as I used to. I mean, I can probably tell you all the players that were on the 1967 Red Sox when I was 13, when the Red Sox Nation was kind of cut their teeth. That was terrific, but and I don't know the players as well anymore. And that was evident last night watching the introductions of the players for the All-Star game. I mean, who are these guys? It was really a revelation that you got to pay attention. And a lot of these young guys, quite frankly, I don't pay as close of attention to Major League Baseball as I once did. But the young folks are playing hard, and they're talented players, I might add. But so I'm hoping the Red Sox make a run and are able to make it into the playoffs. I mean, one thing that with the changes made to postseason with these playoffs, the challenge is to get into the tournament at the end of the season. Once you're in the tournament, everybody starts off at no wins and no losses, and you're starting from scratch. So whether you finished with a 500 record or you won 100 games, it's really irrelevant. And whoever gets hot at the end has a chance to win the World Series. However, in terms of the being a fan, because of this change, as well as interleague play, which I have different thoughts on that. I mean, I liked it better when I was younger, and you had the American League and the National League, and the All-Star Game and the World Series were special because the teams didn't see each other, the players didn't see each other, and now it's just like everybody's the same. But as I mentioned just a moment ago, I mean, 1967, the American League had a pennant race, which you'll never see again. I mean, you'll never, ever, ever see again. Where you had the Red Sox, you had the Tigers, the Minnesota Twins, and the Chicago White Sox vying for the pennant right down to the last day of the season. And it was marvelous, absolutely marvelous. I mean, it was just every game had you on the edge of your seat, and in those days, all the games were not on television. A lot of them you'd have to catch on radio. And listening to a sporting event, baseball in particular, and if you've got a really good announcer, I mean, they can have you mesmerized, and they do a terrific job. And painting a mental image in your head about what's happening on the field and the atmosphere and what's going on is really a special art to be able to do that and do it well. It's just not a matter of calling balls and strikes and hits and outs and things of that nature. So it's but I'm hoping the Red Sox do well, and got my fingers crossed that they'll be buyers and that they will do well. Although it's recent, I saw some article recently where a pitcher that the Red Sox had, matter of fact, he was on the team, I think, that won their last pennant, Chris Sale, who they got from the White Sox. He was injured for a good tenure with the Red Sox, and they unloaded him, and he's been phenomenal with the Atlanta Braves. It's like he's been reborn, and he's the guy that they were hoping they were going to get. So maybe they unloaded him 1 year too early, but good for him and good for the Braves. And but the Sox have vaulted. They're close to I think third place in the Eastern Division. They're within smelling distance of the Yankees, who are in second place. And just a couple of weeks ago, they beat New York 4 games in a row, which doesn't happen very often. So we'll have to see. That's where as they say, that's where they play the games. And so we'll see how things go down the stretch. The Red Sox, I believe, are opening the post All-Star break with, is it Toronto? Toronto's coming in soon. It may not be Toronto, but and I will point out too, Toronto's got a local boy, Pete Walker from East Lyme, who's the pitching coach. And I think that's kind of neat that we've got a local fellow who's achieving well at the major league level. And he also played ball at UConn Avery Point for Roger Bidwell, along with John McDonald and Rajay Davis, who are our local talent. Rajay at New High School, and John McDonald, I also believe, is an East Lyme player as well, and they all ended up at UConn Avery Point. So I like to see the local talent doing well. Well, next week, we're going to be running a rerun because the studio will not be open for a live performance, but I'll be discussing that with Drew Wilson, who runs the show here, and we'll figure out which program we'd like to rerun because we like to see that we can give you the best product possible. And when we close out the month, I've been trying to get Coach Cochran on, and he's very challenging. He's a very busy guy. I've also been trying to get Kareem Brown on. Kareem is a New London High graduate who is now the head basketball coach at Fitch High School, and I'd like to get him on. So I think that this is, I'd like to following up and discussing some of the local talent, especially the ones that have come out of New London. We've got Mike Morgan and DJ Exum, who are coaching basketball boys and girls at Ledyard High School, and CJ Parker coaches the girls at Fitch. And I've had CJ on a couple of times, and he's a terrific guest. So like to keep things local as well. Well, I tell you, folks, we've hit the 45-minute mark, and I think that we're at a point that it would be a good time to call this good night. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. And enjoy your summer, enjoy July. Stay cool, calm, and collect here with this heat wave we're in. And let's be safe, be good, and good night.